Well, hello. I am shooting this quick video for you to really go over the basics on the syllabus. You got to knock that thing out first because that's you're kind of doing it backwards by filling in and leading with those module development first. So let me show you about the syllabus, and you seem to have a little bit of questions about the syllabus when we talked over the phone. So I thought, how better than to shoot one of my famous videos uh, on how to do your syllabus, and it's really pretty easy. I can knock one of these things out in like from scratch, like in 2 hours. It's building the course is the hard part, but it does give me a roadmap on my modules. Okay, and that's the thing that I got to vet. One of the things I got to vet usually first in the process is your syllabus to make sure you are on the right track. Now, I think what we've discussed, everything that you're doing sounds great. With that, I like the ideas that you're bringing to the course. So I don't think there's any no problems there. But let me show you on what you need to do with the syllabus. And I am using screencast-o-matic.com for this little tutorial. I like to start off with the full headshot. As you can see, my background has been, I have this I've created this background not because I care, only to create a sense of interest, of eclectic interest in there. So there you go. Um, and as far as the video, when you do start doing your lectures, I do like to start off with a full headshot, which you simply can do with a click of a button, fill the whole screen. And I'll show you in just a moment how it transitions. Um, you want to make sure your camera is at eye level. So that might mean you need to either use a separate webcam or build your laptop up. I use a separate webcam just because it's a little bit better than my integrated webcam. But I have my laptop on this laptop stand, and I'll show you in just a second, but it gives me nice eye level. Plus, I have some LEDs that are shining, um, putting some light on my face. You want the light to come from behind the camera onto your face. Otherwise, you kind of get shadowy, because I got a light overhead, which I shouldn't have, as far as cameras go and video, but not gonna monkey around a lot with that by trying to knock that light out. Um, Nice light. Now you can use side lights, natural light, do it, whatever you want, but these cameras in laptops, webcams, they're very light hungry, and so it's actually a little intense. I start to get my eyes get a little wigged out after about an hour. So, but it's going to be kind of bright. All right, so you got that. Let me show you my setup real quick. I'm going to grab the webcam, flip it around, and you can see the real state of my office is a mess, but no one sees the messy part. So I got my LEDs here, and I've got my laptop on this like little laptop stand. I don't go buy anything, but you can um, you can just build it up on a book or a milk crate or box or whatever to get that camera eye level. Otherwise, you have the your laptop's laying on your table, and you have of course, the laptop open, and then the camera is shooting up at you. It looks really horrible. It looks really horrible. So shoot that eye level. As far as filling the frame, I've had this. I've done this, and I've seen a lot of newbies do this. They'll be down like this. So here we go today, guys. Blah, blah, blah. Little head at bottom of the screen. So make sure that you kind of fill the screen a little bit. For me, basically, about from here on up, maybe this button on up is kind of good, but you do want to take a nice command of the screen, not a full big headshot, but kind of about chest level up. I think looks kind of good. So that's why I think it's important to shoot that first video. Critique it yourself. How was your audio? How was the light? Did things sound good? Did it look good? It's very easy to tell that it looks off. It's hard to tell how to fix it necessarily. So again, shooting your first one and then showing it to me would be great. But usually, again, I start with my videos with a quick headshot, just an introduction, talking about the lecture for today, the topics, the goal of the lecture, the specific learning outcomes for this particular lecture. Don't refer to anything broad within the course. We talked about that because I could use these lectures in different courses. I could use them just all kinds of places. I want to make them as timeless as possible, so I don't refer to holidays or page numbers or anything like that. Just stick to a topic so you can use it over and over and over again. All right, so there's that. So I start with this headshot. And then usually I'll just use my quick little, there's three little buttons. You'll see them on screencast-o-matic.com. They're wonderful. Uh, where I can either go to picture in picture or just fade my picture off altogether. Let's fade my picture off altogether. It does a nice fade. It disappears. You don't see it. It's great. Let me go back to full headshot. Here I am again. You can do picture in picture where you can move where that picture in picture is around the screen wherever you want it. I don't do it that often, only because I'm on camera all the time, and if I want to scratch my nose or get some coffee, as I'm talking, it's one less thing that's on there. Now, sometimes I do, like in this case, if I'm doing a tutorial, I like to have my head up in the corner and I'm looking. As I'm looking into the camera, it almost appears that I'm looking down on the paper. That's not by accident, and walking through, a paper, or a document, a whatever. Up to you. If you want to be on screen, as a picture-in-picture, up to you. I just prefer to go with the fade off altogether and just disappear my picture. All right. And then what's going to be under here is my PowerPoint. I'm simply got PowerPoint running. I'm capturing a window size to that PowerPoint. I noticed all your PowerPoints, I think, were in the newer version of the kind of the landscape version of PowerPoint. Do that because we've kind of gone away from the old 4x3 or 3x4 box. Go to the widescreen version of PowerPoint. Here, I'm just walking through a PDF, and you can walk through whatever you want with this screencast-o-matic.com. So your typical syllabus, you have a template attached. We're constantly messing with these templates and changing things. So always make sure you're using the current template for the semester. Okay. Every time you teach, you got to grab the current template and then cut and paste your stuff into the new template. Because legal language or whatever we're changing, we're always changing stuff. So you always want to get the freshest one. Now this is a little bit older one. Obviously, I'm not teaching this class one yet, but yet this semester, but I will be teaching it later on in spring of 19. So I'll be updating. Obviously, this is up here, pretty basic. You're going to have your contact information that'll be on there. As far as contact information, this is really up to instructor's discretion. So, if you wish, we, highly encourage that your phone number is there. But if you don't want to list your phone number, you don't have to. You do have to. It's almost impossible though nowadays to get away from that because you have to have what we call office hours. Now, office hours, you're just going to put office hours by appointment. I guess you could do Skype if you wanted to. You could do a Skype office hours. I've tried that. Sometimes there's technical difficulties on the other end with a student, and then it just turns into a big confarction. Sometimes it's just easier just to talk on the phone. Okay. But you will use your college email address. Don't use your business one anymore. When you're working at the college, you stick to that .edu address. When you're talking to students, stick to that .edu. Again, we retain that conversation forever in the, of course, backlogged and archived. So if anything goes down, we have an archived email server. So make sure you're using your .edu when communicating with students. All the rest is pretty self-explanatory. I think you can figure that part out. Office hours, again, by appointment. You don't have to. You can if you want. You can say, I'm only available from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Bloop, you could do that. Now, you've met your requirement to have office hours, and in that case, I think you've given them some options to which to schedule those office hours. So I think that's pretty fair. Or you just say, hey, call me when you need me and we'll work something out. That's usually the best way. Add drop dates. This will be, you will get that information provided to you. Okay, we have our master calendar and you'll drop those add drop dates in there. So that's all kind of cut and paste. Um, Objectives of the course. You have that information. You're going to cut and paste that right into your syllabus. Course materials. You have one required text. So you'll drop that information right in there. You have no optional text. Now I saw you have some outside readings, but they're not getting a book or anything like that. It looks like you're going to provide that to them or point them into a direction to which they can get those PDFs or online readings or whatnot. So no optional text. This is all boilerplate. Don't need to worry about that. Online delivery, all boilerplate. Don't let, this is all, leave all that stuff in there. Instructional feedback, help, that's all in there. Leave that the same. Notice that, responding to email messages on discussion boards. So it's typically the 24 to 48 hours, and then you can put the 5 days, for assignments. Now, you can have a blackout period, okay? I don't expect anyone to be dialed into their course 24/7. So let's say, for example, you want weekends. You could tell them, just tell the students when, so they don't get angry, because they'll get angry. But if you tell them in multiple places, you got to do that like 4 or 5 different places. But you put it in here. I'm unable to. Emails received on Saturday and Sunday will be replied to Monday at 6 p.m. Okay, you don't have to work on the weekends, or if you pick whatever 2 days, maybe you got your 2 busy days or whatever. Or emails received are responded to, within 48 hours or whatever, but just give them that expectation so they know. And then when you do your video for your kind of your welcome video, you tell them, you tell them right up front, hey guys, if you're going to get a hold of me, here's how you do it. You email me and then you're going to expect an answer within X, whatever that is. So just make sure you set those expectations early and you repeat those expectations on communication often so they don't have any question, about how to get a hold of you. Um, this is the biggie right here. This one you got to pencil it out as I'm hearing you talk about your different assignments and point values. Do this table here. So you're going to have these various assignments. Some of them are repetitive, some of them are one-offs, but you have this position paper, I think you call it, maybe 4 or 5 of those. So you'll have, position paper, 4 times 10 points, whatever, 100 points each, and then you have your total point value. Have your course to come out to be 1,000. I've seen all kinds of wonky things. Courses at 1,227 points. Why? Doesn't make any sense. Just everything's a proportional. Everything's a proportion. You want things to be, and you can, fudge the numbers a little bit. Sometimes I have to over round, and so there's like built-in extra credit by 1 point just to make it a nice even number rather than 24.3 points per assignment. I'll just round it up to 25 points. Yeah, I'll just leave the rounding in there, and the students, they'll get an extra 5 points out of the whole darn thing. Really won't make much of a difference. So round up is perfectly okay to make the numbers look a little bit better rather than fractions. But this will really give you a flow. This is so important. This really tells you kind of where the meat of the course is going to be. And, I like my quizzes in most cases. Let's see. This course was a little bit different. I had a nice weight on the on learning activities, which were more like homework and workbook assignments. And then I had these topic essays, similar to what you're doing with your position papers, I think they're called. I had those due every, well, as you can see, I had 6 of them, not every module. At kind of a beefy chunk of that course was that topic essay. So that's 30%. See, nice easy math here, 1,300 points. That's 30% of the course in those topic essays. Homework, another 20. So 50% of the course is really just in get her done kind of work. You don't have to super excel in it, and it's not going to be a stressful, high stakes testing environment. Just get it done, grind through it, and you're got half of the course is you're gonna do well as long as you put good faith effort into it. So, and then I do have my midterm. Again, you don't have to have a midterm and a final, but there probably should be some sort of summative piece at the end, whether it's a larger paper or something. So do think about that. But here I can kind of see the nice flow of the course. My final exam is, that's nice. That's 15% of the course. It's not deadly, but it's substantial enough. Do not have any single assignments worth more than 25%. Really, 20% is kind of my worry zone. If I had a final exam worth 25% and they, for some reason, bombed it, but they did good everywhere else, it's a little tough. Now, in graduate work, it can be different. You can have 3 assignments, each assignment being worth a third of the course. That's graduate level work. But in the baccalaureate, there is best practices aren't to do that. So keep everything, any single assessment, like a major paper, one single major paper, or one midterm, or one final, right around that 20% mark if need be. Okay? So I can see my flow of my course and kind of the balance of how things are at. The next thing, again, this is all boilerplate, are descriptions of my assignments. So these little 2 to 3 paragraph descriptions that I have. And then I'm going to tie those assignments into the learning outcomes, the course learning objectives. So up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So plug those in. And it might be all 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's perfectly fine. What I tell students this is that, look, we have no busy work. Everything you're doing in this course ties back to these 4 or 5, whatever learning objectives that we have. If you've developed an assignment that doesn't tie back into one of those learning objectives, we call it an orphan, and you should get rid of it. Why do it? No purpose to it. So make sure all your assignments do tie back, and if you could make sure you list where they tie back to is perfect. And then coming up with these little paragraph descriptions. You can provide more detail if you wish, and you most likely will, within the module for the actual assignment. So don't feel like you're confined to this, but these brief little descriptions of what the assignments are what's going to be required here. And then there's attendance and blah, blah, blah. That's all boilerplate. And then this is really the second biggest important thing. This is the flow of the course. What you got to do in module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a great way to see, like, oh my God, I've got 9 things due in module 7. Let me scoot some things around. Maybe I didn't plan that out too well. And students do look at this. They'll look at this course schedule. You have your reading, my chapter 10, you have a topic essay due. They'll check off all those little pieces in there. So, and then your due dates. Now, for me, I try not to put an actual date like October 27th in there because I got to go back and change it every time I run the course. So I'll just say due dates per module. Every Thursday, your main post for your discussion is due for that week. Every Sunday, your case study will be due. So that way I can just leave it generic, and that way I don't have to change anything. Or God forbid, what happens? I screw up a date, and I put October 27th, and it should have been October 28th, and I got 30 people emailing me like, this is confusing. Why is it due on this date? And blah, blah, blah. So this makes it easier. So again, try to make it a little timeless, and it gives them a good pattern and rhythm for the course. All right, so there's that. So definitely course schedule, get that thing done. If you want to work on descriptions later, that's fine. But the for your assignments, the kind of this little paragraph here. But make sure you're tying those assignments back into the objectives, okay? And then this thing right here, okay, this other table, those 2 tables, your schedule and this is really key on developing it. And you can see that only takes maybe, Christ, it'll probably take you 15 minutes to do that. And then you'll be able to play with the numbers, play with the weight, and get the course exactly where you like. And then you start moving forward on your module development. Kind of falls all into place once you get that stuff done. All right, so Hey, did you see that transition there? Pretty cool, huh? So I think you got everything, kind of the basics on that. This ran way too long. Well, let me know if you have any questions. But the big thing is I got to see that syllabus. So kind of mash through that this weekend, and then try to get that to me to sometime next week. Uh, and here's the other thing too. You don't have to have the course fully developed. Okay, modules are unlocked at certain times. So they don't see that it's not done. Now, here's what's ideal. Having Ideals have the whole darn thing done, so you're not trying to develop a course and provide feedback and teach the course at the same time. But you can definitely do both. I would say try to shoot for having 3 modules nice and solid and done. That keeps you 3 weeks ahead of them. With everything completely done, modules one through three. Again, they don't see those modules until they unlock. We have them typically unlock on Sunday. Okay, so even though the activities don't start until Monday, they kind of get a preview. So the module will unlock Sunday, Saturday at midnight. They can look at it if they want to start getting early. They can if they wish, but we don't expect them to start working in the module until Monday. But they don't see it until it unlocks. All they see is a title of the module. So, you know, trust me, I've had completely empty modules and then putting it all together on a weekend. So that can be done, but if you can, try to avoid that. But let's go with 3 completed modules, and I think you'll be good. That'll put you plenty ahead of the guys. All right, there you go. Have a good weekend.